Did you know that most people do their workouts, well, kind of backwards? They do their core exercises at the very end of their training, kind of like as a warm down or something like that. That's exactly the wrong way to program your core exercises. You want to get key muscles firing to help protect your spine and also your shoulders, where most lifters get injured. Hi, my name's Kamina Sue, and today I'm going to share with you my favourite core exercises that you can do before your workout. So the first thing I want to go over is that when I'm doing a warm-up for the core, I'm not just talking about the abs. I'll also be, in this little sequence I'm going to be sharing with you, warming up things like our TVA muscle, our hip flexors, our scapula, our lats, and also our glutes. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do, guys, before we start any of this, is actually we're going to warm up our hands, because a lot of people don't actually know how to provide neuromuscular recruitment through their hands to help to activate their upper body, which I think is a really important skill to do, and also will save you from wrist injuries and also in the long term shoulder injuries. So what you want to be thinking about here is called cambering the fingers. So I talk about this in other videos, but I think it's really, really important to go over it here. Basically, you want to be thinking about your hands is like almost like Spider-Man or Spider-Girl climbing up the side of a building. And so by placing your hands on the floor with your fingers really spread, you want to think about pushing the floor away really, really firmly. And so your finger pads are digging into the earth. And notice when you do that, how good it feels to stretch out your fingers and also the palm, especially if you press the pad there between of the forefinger there and the thumb. If you press that into the ground really, really firmly, then that'll give you that really good sense of being able to root and rebound through your palms. And so go ahead and just place your hands on the floor and sort of doing what I'm doing here, spreading those fingers and just letting yourself push the floor away really, really strongly. Doing that a couple of times. Good, so we're getting some circulation, and more importantly, we're getting some awareness there through the front part of the hand, so more the fingertip side of the hand rather than dumping all the weight on the heel of the hand. So once you're satisfied with that, you can then go ahead and start to turn myself in this direction, start yourself to bring the heel of the hand down towards the floor, and then starting to stretch out the forearms and your wrists. Good, I find this is actually just really, really helpful just to kind of get some blood moving here, building awareness. Long, slow, deep breathing. And once you're satisfied with that, you can maybe do a couple of starbursts just to get the fingers more enlivened. All right, so once we've finished that little sequence there to enliven the hands and get things moving, we're now going to move into the core, the warm-up itself. So we're going to start off first of all with a favourite of mine, the Lsit. Here we're going to be placing some blocks on either side of the hips. We're doing the Lsit to get the TVA, or the transverse abdominis muscle, firing. That is the corset-like muscle that wraps around our torso underneath the visible muscles like the rectus abdominis and your obliques. So it's a primary stabilizer of the spine, and it's really, really important to get the TVA working properly, because that'll help to safeguard your back and other joints. Okay, so here we go with the Lsit. We're going to take an inhalation, rolling the shoulders away from the ears, making sure we're spreading those fingers, and the middle finger's pointing straight ahead. We're going to exhale, short, sharp exhalation, and I'm going to pull those hips back, and then we're going to be here for start off with 10 seconds and work your way up to 30 seconds. The next exercise we're going to do to warm up our core are low dog presses, and these are really important to fire up the lats. So the lats are the largest muscles on our back, and very often we have lost complete awareness of them. So it's a bit of we need to get them firing again. And if you think about how they almost cover your entire back, we're actually missing out a lot on a lot of strength and a lot of power, and also protecting our shoulder girdle if these guys aren't firing. So we're going to get them firing now with this particular exercise, and it's called the low dog press. I'm going to show you from a front view, and then I'll turn to the side so you can see what it looks like from there. So basically we're going to be placing our hands shoulder distance apart, cambering those fingers as I described earlier. Let's go ahead and come to a shortened up down face dog position. So we're going to take an inhalation, we're going to push the floor away here, nice and straight through those arms. We're going to exhale, relax the head, and then bending the elbows out to the side just a little bit. And by bending the elbows out to the side, you should be feeling your lats firing. So those are the largest muscles on the back, as I've just mentioned, and you can feel them firing because you can just feel them kind of tightening, okay, as you bend the elbows out to the side. So you're going to commit that to memory, what that feels like, for about 5 seconds, and then after 5 seconds go ahead and straighten the arms, inhaling and then exhaling, micro-bending those elbows out to the side again. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like from the side. Inhaling here, exhaling, micro-bending those elbows out to the side. Now, if you're not feeling your lats, you can also play around with your feet positioning. You can maybe move the feet back, move the feet forward, even come onto the toes. So play rather around with your feet to see if you can really get those lats engaging. If you're finding that you're really not feeling the lats firing doing that, and that can happen with some people who just don't have that mind-muscle connection there at all, you can go ahead and do what's called elbow tracking. So you're lifting one arm up so it's a 90-degree angle, placing the other hand underneath you, inhaling here, exhaling, bringing the elbow tip of that raised arm in towards the center line of your body. And as you do that, you should feel your lats firing underneath that hand. So after we have gotten our lats firing, now we want to start getting some awareness of our scapula or our shoulder blades. So I'm going to go ahead and take this roller, and actually this creates a little bit of instability here. So if you are not confident about being able to work your scapula, you can just also do it from the floor. So here you're going to go ahead and come into a position where you've got yourself on your hands and knees. You're going to place one arm behind your back. You're going to take an inhalation, pushing the floor away. Exhaling, you're just going to go ahead and draw the scapula around your rib cage. So that is called retracting the scapula here. And then pressing the floor away, once again with those cambered fingers, we're actually pushing the floor away, and you can feel the scapula moving in the opposite direction. That is protracting the scapula, and then we're going to follow it up with a retraction. So here we're just getting our shoulder blades warmed up and moving. So this is actually especially important to learn how to do this if you're going to be doing things like press-ups in your workout. Okay, if you are doing more benching, like you're doing some barbell, you're doing a warm-up before you do bench pressing, you want to keep the shoulder blades pinned together. Okay, so, but nonetheless, it's actually really good to have awareness of your shoulder blades in the first place. So I still think this is actually a valuable exercise to do, even if you're going to be doing some benching. If you want to up the ante a little bit more, you can go ahead and place your hand on an unstable surface like this roller, and then just start to push away and then retract. So by doing this on an unstable surface, you're actually creating and learning about scapular stability, which is actually a really important quality of strength to develop. And I'll go into that in more detail in future videos. So now we're going to move on to our hip flexors as a key area to get warmed up. And we're going to do this very simply and easily with hip flexor triangles. So here you want to come to a sitting position with your hands kind of on either side of you, just to keep your spine lifted. You can also lean back a little bit as well if that feels good. Just make sure that you're not slumped in your lower back like this, okay? So keeping the chest lifted. We're going to go ahead and point the toes and squeeze the quads. And then going to lift one foot up out to the side, up out to the side and then back again. And that is one triangle. So these are really great for strengthening the hip flexors and getting them nice and activated. So you want to do about 10 to 15 on one side and then switching sides. This kind of thing is really important to do, especially if you do a lot of sitting during the day, and maybe you could be a bit of a weekend warrior or you go for a run or something after work. And that is the kind of thing that actually can get people injured, okay? When they're sedentary during the day and then they do something kind of more active at night. And what I'm saying is don't not do that, but rather just safeguard your body doing these exercises, and especially the hip flexor triangles. So we worked our hip flexors, got the rest of the body nice and warmed up. Now we're going to finish things off with a quick set of glute bridges. And I love getting the glutes firing because after many, many years of yoga, I realized that my glutes were pretty much asleep. And that translated into, I think, a lot of other kinds of issues that have now been corrected, that I've got my glutes firing thanks to this handy little exercise. So glute training's become super popular, but I like to just keep things really simple and include this as part of our core warm-up. So here we're going to place a block in between the thighs. Have your feet a little bit closer in to your buttocks. Take an inhalation, bringing the knuckles up towards the ceiling. Exhaling, driving those elbows out to the side and really keeping those fists strong. So I find this is actually quite helpful to keep the glutes engaging. Then take an inhalation, coming up, really squeeze the glutes. Exhaling, coming down, and really squeezing that block in between your thighs as you come down. Inhaling up, exhaling down. If you do a quick set of about 20 reps here, that should do the trick. So there you have it. And the name of the game is to not just blast through the warm-up in order to get to the real workout. You should actually think about this as laying the foundation for what you should be feeling during your workout, where it be a yoga practice, strength training, or you're going for a run. And I promise you, if you practice these things regularly and you actually start to develop the awareness of activating the correct muscles in your body, you will safeguard your body from injury because you will have better mechanics. If you got some value out of this video, please subscribe. Thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next video.